like. We knew with those three games against good opponents, we knew it was a challenge, and we were kind of excited for that challenge. We know exactly what we ended up doing in those three games, so the that definitely wasn't the desired outcome. But at the same time, what I'm talking to the team about, and what I think is very important, that I really, really, truly believe deep down to my core, is if you're going to lose football games, you should get something out of it. I do think that I just moving forward, to make yourself better, to make that purposeful. Guys, I was very, very proud of the effort. I was very proud of the lack of excuses that were made by the locker room, the players, the coaches in general. Because now that I can talk about it out in the open, yeah, that is difficult for sure. Time zone switches, but everybody has to go through their own stuff. But I thought they approached it with a severity enough to get something out of it. Because you're not gonna, if you go half in or utilize excuses and you lose, it doesn't really. You can just say, okay, we'll turn it up, and then you don't really get anything out of it. I don't see that. That's not to say that I see it as like. I don't know. I said something about asterisks last week about there's no asterisks in the win-loss column about inclement weather. There's also no asterisks for moral victories. So I'm not necessarily saying that as much as I'm saying that I think we allowed ourselves to utilize every experience because of our intent and our commitment moving forward. And if we choose to do it, and if we execute all the things that we haven't and utilize those experiences, we'll look back and say those were very beneficial. And that's the point, because when you go all in, and guys really put forth their best effort under some challenging circumstances, you can, human nature is to kind of like, here we go again. But I'm very confident in the human beings on the coaching staff and the human beings in the locker room that we'll be happy to play another game. I do not want to. I appreciate the question, and I do not want to insinuate that I do not hold your question in any sort of low regard or anything. I don't want to dismiss it, I should say. However, it is what it is. Like I said, the only concern I had was with players' safety, specifically with the ice balls going at people's heads. And I know the NFL is concerned with player safety as well. So however it's handled, whatever, it's not for me to worry about.
I don't know why that keeps happening. Every time I hit the wrong button, the sound keeps getting muted. I apologize. All right, let me just start over again. Hey, everybody, Merry Christmas. I want to say Merry Christmas to every single one of you. I apologize once again. I am a single person doing this broadcast. I click all the buttons. They're supposed to work. And then if I misclick the button, it doesn't work, and you guys couldn't hear me, and I look like a friggin' idiot, and I apologize. That being said, what I said was we just heard Mike McDaniel talk about the game from 48 hours ago. In that game where the Dolphins lost, no blame being assigned, even though a lot of us think that he made some bad calls. And in those calls that he made, he acknowledges that this is a learning process for everybody. First year coach, the team has just been put together. This is where he is taking this. And all the BS being talked about on Twitter, I am so sick of it. I am so sick of it. As far as I'm concerned, right now, the season starts. You got 3 games to finish off the season, and then if you make the playoffs and you go into the playoffs, then you got to worry about taking down some really elite teams. So right now, I don't want to talk about Byron Jones. I don't want to talk about anybody that doesn't want to be here. I just want to talk about, and I'm talking from the perspective of Mike McDaniel, I just want men who are ready to line up. And what I saw Saturday, I'm talking about me now, what I saw Saturday, No, you didn't miss anything. What I saw Saturday was a team that showed heart. What I saw Saturday was a team ready to play, ready to face anybody. What I saw Saturday, and I hope you guys saw it as well, is a team that can face adversity both on the field and the guys in the striped shirt. What I saw Saturday was a team that didn't quit, didn't give up, that kept fighting. What I saw on Saturday was a team that has obvious defensive deficiencies. No other way to say that. What I saw on Saturday was a team that decided they were going to man up and run the ball. And they proved to their head coach that they can run the ball. What I saw on Saturday was a coach who pulled back the reins and said, I'm not sure if you can get 1 or 2 yards when it really matters. I have to go to my ace in the hole and have Tua try and throw the ball. What I saw on Saturday was a coach who learned that when his guys look him in the eyes and say, we got this, I don't care what's on that card you're holding. I don't care what you're holding that says this is what you do. If the guys you're looking at you in the face, if those guys are looking at you and say, Coach, we got this, then you toss that piece of paper out and you put everything you got in their heart and tell them to go get it. You didn't do that on Saturday. On Saturday, you let these guys down. But you know what? They went in the locker room and they're right behind you, Coach. They'll run through walls for you, but you got to do it. Now, the fan base, that's a whole nother conundrum of people. I don't even call them fans. In fact, everyone wanted to rely on saying everything was rigged. Tomorrow I've got a big video dropping. It's not a live video, it's a recorded video. I got a recorded video dropping tomorrow on is the NFL rigged, which I think is going to open some eyes for you guys and allow you to get off that roller coaster of people saying things are rigged. Just a little hint. I don't think the NFL is rigged whatsoever. I think it's surrounded by incompetence. I think it's people who have no idea what the hell they're doing. I think it's by a bunch of old men and women who can't keep up with the speed of the game, whose eyes can't process what they're seeing, and who are too proud to say, you know what? I freaking blew it. I blew that call. I'm upset with the incompetence of the NFL that will basically do any other kind of review of a film, but they won't review penalties. The only reason you don't want to review penalties is because you don't want to embarrass the referees. That's why you don't review penalties. If Jalen Phillips tackles somebody and the quarterback absolutely gets landed on, but you don't want to see how much of his weight was put on the quarterback, that's on you. That's incompetence. If Tyreek is so fast that you got to hold him to stop him from catching a ball, that's your incompetence. And so one of the last question that you heard from Mike McDaniel was a stupid question by Perkins from the Sun Sentinel. And he went into the realm of, hey, what do you think about the snowballs on Saturday? What did you think about those snowballs causing a problem? And Mike McDaniel, being the professional that he is, shrugged it off and said, dude, I'm not taking the bait. He actually said that. I'm not taking the bait. It happened. Let the NFL deal with it. You know what? I've got Green Bay coming up. I've got 3 games left to solidify this season and get into the playoffs, and you're talking about friggin' snowballs. Absolutely ridiculous. Excuse me. So I was really proud of the way he handled himself there. He says the word asterisk kind of funny, but hey, whatever, you know. But there are no asterisks because of snow. There are no asterisks because, you know, one guy got hurt. Jeff Wilson couldn't play. Raheem Mostert played his ass off. Absolutely played his ass off. So what I'm going to talk about is tonight, I'm going to take some of your comments right now, but one of the things I wanted to mention when the microphone was off is every single day this week, because now I consider this game time. Now is the time when you separate the wheat from the chaff. Every single night at 6:30, I'm going to be going live. Maybe for 30 minutes, maybe for an hour, but every single night. I think it's important right now for us to be looking together at some of the things that the Miami Dolphins are going through. And on Christmas Eve, I'm going to have the special Christmas Eve show where somebody, actually a few of you, are going to win some money. I know it's late and you won't be able to do much shopping on Christmas Eve, but I can still email you a gift card and maybe you can run out on Christmas Day or late Christmas night and do something on Amazon. I am fully in the Christmas spirit. I've got my red shirt on right now. I'm just loving it. My wife and I, after we get done here, going to run out and look at some Christmas lights. Yeah, I'm a Christmas junkie. I mainline Santa. I'm going to watch It's a Wonderful Life when we get home. We've got it recorded. Then we're going to watch The Grinch. Then, you know, it's just all about the season. So I'm not in a bad mood, and I'm tired of dealing with people in bad moods. I don't even want to go into the negative area. If there's some spam or something in here, I'm not going to even talk about it. I just want to, you know where my mindset is? My mindset is, and right now, I'm going to tell you where my mindset. There was a movie, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years ago. It was called Major League. And Major League was a funny movie with Charlie Sheen, Wesley Snipes, Tom Berenson, some other guys. It was about this crappy team who the owner wanted to move to Miami. And she wanted to tank. She wanted to tank the season. The guy stunk. And the team got together. The team got together and said, you know what? We got nothing to lose. Since we have nothing to lose, let's go out and win the whole damn thing. Let me play this cut for you, and I want you guys to listen. To me, it was kind of funny, but it was a moment in this movie that was kind of interesting. So let's play. Imagining the Dolphins ride home on the plane. I'm imagining things in the locker room where now you've lost again and you're 8-6 and you're just like, you know, what's going on? And someone like Tyreek or Tua standing up and going, you know what? Let's win the whole effing thing. Let's go for it. Let's put everything on the line right now. You got 3 games. Let's absolutely go for it. And take a few comments. I love what Cap for Life says here. Cap for Life says, and it shows up, yeah, we're going to need Pedro Serrano on this team, bro, because Voodoo and all the look, we can get all hands on deck. Absolutely right. Pedro Serrano was the big black guy in the bald hair who couldn't... Jabu don't like the curveball, man. Jabu don't like the curveball. I love that. It was amazing. William Taylor says, great movie. William, can you imagine that point right there where someone in the locker room, Tyreek, maybe not Tua, he doesn't seem to have that kind of personality, but Teron Armstead, somebody come up and going, hey guys, we got only one thing to do at this point. We need to get out there and win the whole friggin' thing. All right, starting with the home game this weekend. Let's get out there. Let's give ourselves a Christmas present and start and win the whole friggin' thing. Ignore everybody. If you want to be here, if you want to be a part of this team, let's go ahead and win the whole damn thing. Who is our Roger? So Roger Dorn was Corbin Benson, who was the rich guy, rich veteran on a team who didn't want to get hurt. So at the beginning of the game, he didn't want to take the hard line drives and stuff because, he had a face and he was going to make some money with endorsements. So he didn't want to do this for a losing team. So who's that on our team right now? Boyer? Maybe Byron Jones. That might be it. Yeah, exactly, John. Hey, John, I got your email. Thank you. I didn't recognize your screen name. Tyreek is Shirley Willie Mays Hayes. If you guys don't know what we're talking about, we've gone old school here. Willie Mays Hayes basically is Tyreek. Absolutely. Let's see what you're saying here. These last 3 losses felt like they were all winnable games, not far out of reach for a win. At one point, I did a video, and I said in that video that the Miami Dolphins were capable of winning all of those 3 games. I also said in that same video, the Miami Dolphins are capable of losing all 3 of those games, which they did. So at this point, that is what it is. It's time to move forward. It sounds like a cliche, but what else are we going to do? We're going to go on Twitter and whine and complain and bitch? Or we're going to just support this team and hopefully they can get out there and do their best. Carl Wright says, do I think Josh Boyer should be fired? If I was Josh Boyer, I think I would resign in disgrace. But then again, we don't know right now because Mike McDaniel plays a tight hand of poker. All the things are going on. Remember, he's had a ton of injuries. I mean, I've got a chart in front of me, and I've got a red asterisk, as Mike says, in front of all the guys who've been in and out of this lineup. I know a lot of people were going hard on Bradley Chubb not performing, and a lot of people going hard on Jalen Phillips not performing. A coach can draw up a scheme, but unless he's got the studs to execute, there's not much he can do. Boyer could be a perfect defensive coordinator. He could dial up the best stuff. If the guys can't perform, what are you going to do? I mean, nobody would have thought that Xavier Howard would play at the level he's played down to this year. Nobody would have thought that. They thought he was a shutdown corner. They thought don't even throw to that side of the field. I'm sure Boyer thought that. What happened? It didn't happen. So it might not just be Boyer's fault. It might be a whole host of things. Maybe, it is as simple as the guys didn't know each other well enough to know what they could and can't do. Obviously, the defensive line knows. Those guys are playing lights out. There's nothing you can say about Christian Wilkins up front other than all-pro. That's all you want to say about him. Chubb has been flaccid. Wow, that's a strong word. Strong word. Remember about Chubb. And this is something that, as you're watching a game, every single week, Chubb is going against the opponent's best offensive lineman. Every single week. The left tackle, for the most part, is always going to be the best lineman on a team. So think about who he's had to face over the last couple of weeks, starting with San Francisco with Trent Williams out there. Every single week, he's facing the best the opponent has to give. And he just hasn't performed as well as he should have? Yeah, probably not. Jimmy James says, I thought the defense played good. The offensive didn't shine either. So what you going to do? Fire everybody? No. I think the offense did shine. I think the offense did. I mean, he scored 29 points in a snowstorm, essentially. What more do you want the guys to do? Those 2 calls, actually, a couple calls that didn't happen, actually, and a few drops for whatever reason. Maybe that was the weather, and the whole game is different. Whole game. If Sherfield catches that pass, it's a whole different game. And so when you're building a team, you've got a team under development. That's one of the things that Mike McDaniel, I'm sure he watched the game on the plane ride home 2 or 3 times and just kept going back and forth going, we're this close, guys. And being this close is the difference between being Buffalo and Miami. Being this close is the difference between being Kansas City and Miami. Being this close is the difference between being the Philadelphia Eagles and Miami. Winners win the close games. Winners overcome those same obstacles. I think this team's got that dog in them. I think this team can do that. They're just not there yet. I mean, there's a couple pieces to the puzzle. I mean, The offensive line, all year long, we've met, we've talked here, we've talked during the games, and the offensive line just isn't at that top level. Let's be honest right now. We're looking at a team that's fighting hard, that just doesn't have all of the pieces in place that some of the top level teams have in place. But on any given Sunday, this team could pull out a win. This team could put their foot in your ass. But they don't have the same level of talent that the other teams have. That to me is what the difference is. Yeah, Colby, you're actually right. They showed that at the Ravens game that if they click, they can win. If they click, they can win. The consistency of always doing that is what separates the Chiefs. And now we're talking about the Eagles and some of the top level teams. The Rams found out they couldn't do it. They couldn't keep that level of consistency up this year. Were they a fraud? No, I don't think they were a fraud. I think it was the same thing. They were a team. They got together. They put up a run and they ran through the Super Bowl. The Rams are a great analogy for the Buffalo Bills. I mean, for the Miami Dolphins. Think about it right now. The Rams weren't favored to win the Super Bowl. The Rams weren't looked at as, hey, this team's going to be it. I watched Hard Knocks when the Rams were getting ready. They weren't that good, and they put together a run and won the Super Bowl. Miami could do that. People think I'm crazy when I say that, but I'm not. You know that the Super Bowl is basically in a neutral facility, so it's not going to be weather. We're going to have to go to Buffalo more than likely if we want to get to the Super Bowl. And before the Super Bowl, there's a couple of games we're going to have to win. But if this team can win on any given Sunday, giving a break here, giving a break there, stopping a turnover, getting a turnover, there's no reason why they couldn't sneak into the playoffs and win the whole thing. You could actually see them winning the whole thing. Some of you guys can't. Some of you guys think Tua sucks. Some of you guys think it's all over, which was what the theme of this video was. No, it's not all over. It's far from over. I want to show you this real quick. Let me see if I can pull it up here on the screen. Let me hit a button here without hurting off my microphone. Let's see. Boom. All right. So let me zoom in on this. This is, and take the comment off the screen, this is what they call the playoff machine on ESPN. Let me see if I can't zoom in a little bit. Make this bigger. You know what? Yeah. All right. So this is the playoff machine right here, and it shows, and I hope you guys can see this, shows Buffalo as the number one seed as of right now. I'm looking at the AFC. I don't really care about the NFC. Actually, I can probably zoom in, and who cares about the NFC right now? All right, so there you can see it's got Buffalo as the first seed in the AFC. It's got Miami in the 7th seed going against Kansas City as the 2nd seed. This is as of today. It's got Los Angeles Chargers as the 6th seed going against Cincinnati Bengals being the 3rd seed. It's got Baltimore in the 5th spot going against Tennessee in the 4th spot. So the Dolphins aren't in a bad position, but they're going to have to win some tough games. If they stay in that 7th seed, they're going to have to go to Kansas City, where it's probably going to be pretty cold, and win that game to get into the next round. But if you look in here, there's a lot of stuff that can still happen. Right now, what happens if the Chargers, they've got 3 more games left as well. They lose, then we're going to Cincinnati and probably playing a rematch of that game. A lot of things could happen. Tennessee is 7-7. So with this playoff machine picture right here, the Dolphins are in really, really good position. They may have to play Kansas City, but eventually the whole thing goes back to Buffalo. I mean, there's no other way around it. I think Buffalo's going to end up being the top seed all the way through. And then when that happens, we're heading back up to Buffalo. We're going to be going to Buffalo. Let's see what here. Tua is garbage, somebody says. Okay. You think I'm going to put you in here? Yeah, Barry, if we win the next 3 games, we will be good. Yeah, absolutely. But we got to win those next 3 games. No ifs, ands, or buts. Got to beat Green Bay, got to beat the Patriots, and got to beat the Jets. No ifs, ands, or buts. You have to win out. If you don't win out, you're hoping to sneak into the playoffs. And, a lot of people were on Twitter were talking about the playoffs, and they're like, well, if this team loses, then the Dolphins have a shot. Or if this team loses, the Dolphins have a shot. How about us winning? Why do you want... Me personally, I don't want to benefit just because you stink. I want to benefit because I can play well. I want to see us win. I'd rather see 3 wins than 3 losses, and 3 losses of the other team allows us to get into the 7th seed with a 9-8 record. That would suck, in my opinion. That almost tells me you shouldn't be there. You better start clicking. It better start clicking this week, because you don't have much time to fine tune it. We're now going into week 16. If you don't have your shit together, you're in trouble. You got 3 games left in this season. We don't need all 3. Patriots and Packers, we clinch. Jets don't matter. I just don't want to clinch. See, that's just it. I just don't want to see this team clinch a playoff spot. I know a lot of you guys have been waiting a long time just to get into playoffs. To me, you got to make a run. You got to show that you're a threat going into the playoffs. If they got to face the Kansas City Chiefs on the road, you better be ready for Patrick Mahomes. The team is flip-flopped. What exactly do you mean the team is flip-flopped? They were winning earlier and they started losing? Okay. But what we're talking about is moving forward, not what happened before. You sound like Chris Perkins and those guys at the Sun Sentinel asking stupid questions about last week. I can't look at last week. I've got to focus on winning these 3 games. That's just how it looks to me. Wow, there's some really nasty people in here. Right here. If we don't beat this Green Bay team, we don't deserve to be in the postseason. I kind of agree. I mean, that may sound bad. I'll take the playoff win if we get in. But you're right. I think we need to prove to the league, coming off that Buffalo game, which is a good springboard for moving forward. A great springboard. They looked really good despite everything that happened. Beat the Packers. The Packers are beatable. They've got that great wide receiver who showed up out of nowhere, and of course they got Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love, depending on who they're going to put in the game. They've had a crap season, but it wouldn't surprise me if they shut down Aaron Rodgers. That'd be nice. Buffalo may go get Sammy Watkins. So this is that time of year when people start dealing. You got to start dealing. I hope Eric Fisher can play as well. You're absolutely right. We need to keep running the ball. It's been looking good. I don't know why he got away from it. I think you're absolutely right. Let's see. Don't talk about the past. Don't talk about the past. Don't talk about the past. We said that with Sperano, Philbin, Gase, and Flores. The past is still viable until it isn't. Until they prove it, I won't believe it. Prove it to who? I put your comment up for a reason, and I don't mean it. I'm glad you have an anonymous profile because I don't want to embarrass you. But you're telling me you've never been on a team without telling me you've never been on a team. I love that cliche sometimes. You're telling me to keep looking back here. You're telling me I need to keep looking behind me because of what's happened over the last 15, 20 years. You want to keep looking in the past. Imagine you having an interpersonal relationship, your girlfriend, your wife, your significant other, whatever, and all they keep doing is looking in the past. How do you develop? How do you get better? But honey, you said this to me. No, honey, I'm sorry. Let's move forward. Yeah, but I'm going to bring this up again every time I get mad or I have a couple drinks. You can't develop. And as an athlete, you can't keep looking back there. Rearview mirror says things in the mirror may look bigger and closer than they really are. That's because if you look in that rearview mirror and you start looking at what happened before and you start concentrating here, it's a lot closer than it appears. It's going to get in your head. Come on, man. Step up. Understand that. It's different. Okay, prove it to me. This guy's been a fan for this team for over 35 years, 40 years. They don't have anything to prove to you. Don't you understand they don't have anything to prove to you? You have to prove it to the team. If you want to step off, step off. I don't get it. I don't understand. Fans are like, oh, you need to prove to me. Guess what? You'll be watching on Sunday. Guess what? You're here. You've already proven that you're not giving up. So stop saying it. Enough. Let's see. Yes, the Buffalo run game was on fire on Saturday. Absolutely. Matt, you're absolutely right. This team has been. I've heard this over and over from people who watch the Dolphins from the 70s and realize this team is different. You're expecting what happened 2015 to 3 years ago to be where this team is right now. You expected this team to be a Super Bowl winning team because all of a sudden Tyreek is here and Teron Armstead's here. I've said it before in a number of videos. Stephen Ross didn't sign a contract with Mike McDaniel and say, if you don't win the Super Bowl this year, you're out. I don't know what level you are at work, whether you're an hourly employee or a salaried employee or a director or a GM or a vice president. At some point, the CEO comes to you and says, what's your plan? Where do you want to be? Where do you see things going? And you better have a nice plan that shows what you're going to do with your department, your employees, your division, and how you plan on growing. Not a single person I've ever met, and I've worked in advertising and business for 30 plus years, has ever said, you know what, I'm going to see what the guy who failed did, and I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to change anything, and, I'm just going to keep looking back. Or, conversely, no one ever said, I want you to generate 50% more sales this year or you're fired. So when you say stuff like that, that tells me that you're not really understanding this is a work in progress. I guarantee you, Stephen Ross is sitting back going, shit, this works. Now we just need to plug some holes and let's look at our 5-year plan. I'm telling you. All right. Let's see. Some people are okay with mediocrity. He came back at me. Some people are okay with mediocrity. They're okay being almost good every year. You're saying it again. Every year. This isn't every year. This is his first year. This is the first year of a new head coach. This is the first year that Teron Armstead's playing with this team. This is the first year that Tyreek Hill is playing with this team. Essentially, this is the first year that Tua is healthy and playing under a coach that understands football, offensive football. So how can you compare what happened before when this is basically the first time it's been this way? Now, if you got to like 2024 or 25 and it's still the same thing, then you're absolutely right. You're comparing overripened bananas to bananas on a tree that are green right now. I hope you understand the analogy. Nick S. says, can we give Bradley Chubb back to Denver and get our first-round draft pick back? No, that's not going to happen, nor should it. Nor should it. The guy's going to play. He did well. I mean, he played against Josh Allen that any other quarterback, he probably would have had 4 or 5 sacks. I mean, I just saw him on one play, and I don't know if you guys focused on when Josh Allen threw that touchdown, but he chased Josh Allen the equivalent of 30 yards. You can do the all-22, have someone pull it down for you, but he went from over here where Josh Allen ran all the way to the sideline before he threw that touchdown pass, and he didn't stop. He motored right after him. That showed me what he had in his heart. He could have said, hey, I'm not going to get to him. This guy's fast, and I wouldn't be able to. He chased him across the entire field. So when you're saying Bradley Chubb didn't perform, look at the plays where Josh Allen had to run from him, had to pick it up and get away and turn from that side of the field and get chased all the way over. Don't just look at the outcome of that play when he threw a touchdown, because when he threw the touchdown, that's not Bradley Chubb's position. Bradley Chubb chased him out the pocket. I believe so too. I think you're right. Where is this? Frank says, Chubb is money. I believe Chubb is money. We didn't have any linebackers over there. We didn't have any safeties come up. Nobody else was on that side. He chased them all the way over there. New subject, but they were chasing him down. Absolutely, Jimbo. You're right. If anyone was watching the game, you would say he was chasing him. Josh Allen was running for his life over there, and he's got the arm, and he made the touchdown. James, I don't want to back into the playoffs either. We've seen how that works out, and to me, it's just not the same mindset of somebody getting in there. One of the reasons that Bills play has improved the last 3 weeks is because teams are paying attention to Chubb. Yep, I can believe that. Yep. I don't believe Chubb is lazy. Chubb is lazy. What's up, Tony? I'm trying to get down to you. Boom, let me get you in here. Just blocked Wicked Lester. Who is next? I don't understand that. I really, there's something with the mentality is that why would you jump into a stream just to be completely antagonistic? How does it make you feel better? I don't get it. There's no video I would watch and go, this video sucks. He's talking about the Cleveland Browns, and I think the Cleveland Browns suck. I think the Cleveland Browns suck. Well, don't you have anything better to do? I don't know. John, you're right. Our linebackers aren't doing any coverage. Unless somebody runs up the middle and they tackle, you never see our linebackers out in the flat really doing a good job. Absolutely. Let's see, we go here. Some of you guys. Yeah, who says, are we beating the Packers? I don't ever like making predictions, but what I do is I would call suppositions. And given what Miami has shown they can do, and given what the Packers have shown what they've done, I think that the viability of Miami winning is quite strong. I think this team is, believe it or not, even coming off this loss, I think this team is finally starting to click. I could be wrong, but here's what I'm thinking. I think that this team went up to Buffalo, got out there in the snow, saw what they did, basically had a tie game going into the last 20 seconds, lost by a field goal, and I think on the way home they went, hey man, we can do this. We can indeed play against the best. If we bring our A game, we can win. I think you have to see that in the films. I think that each guy looked at the films today and went, yeah, if I had just done this, if I had just done that, we were there. They lost by 3 friggin' points in Buffalo in a snowstorm. Are you not giving them credit for that? So can they beat the Packers? Absolutely. Can Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love throw a 50-yard touchdown to, Christian Watson and beat us? Absolutely. But I think this team just showed you, whoever it was that was looking for proof, I think this team just proved you, yeah, we can go the distance. We can play all 4 quarters. We can play against the best. And that's why you didn't hear a lot of media people talking shit. They let the stupid anti-Tua people go out there, but not a lot of the media. A lot of the media, including Stephen A., were quite surprised. It took them aback that they took Buffalo to the edge in a snowstorm. Think about that. Okay, you can win. Jerry Phillips here says you can win 3 in a row. The 3 losses in a row just happened again. That's the way we roll. Yep, it happens. Frank's saying Dolphins 10-7. Barry, stop being a homer and go watch the film on Chubb. Hey, but I guarantee you that I could do one of those all 22 breakdowns, and I can show you specifically what I'm talking about. I know what I'm looking at. And if you want to go back and look in that 4th quarter and watch how Chubb stepped up his game. I'm not a homer. Anyone who's ever seen my videos, I call it as I see it. I know what he was going through. Do you know how many times he was double teamed? Do you know how many times he was cut? Do you know how many times they ran away from him to the other side of the field? Do you know how many times Josh Allen rolled right? Do you know how many times Josh Allen did a quarterback draw and cut up the middle so because he was getting too much pressure? I bet you don't. Let's see here. Chubb sucks. Man, you guys are really on Chubb's really bad. So I'm not going to go through this kind of crap. Wow. All right, so I have an article here that was written by Dave Hyde of the Sun Sentinel. And I had a problem with this article, and it was kind of weird. But at the same time, it was kind of, I don't know, true. Dave Hyde says, Josh Allen is what the Dolphins hope Tua Tagovailoa can become. And when he starts off here, and let me see if I might have to zoom in here so you guys can see this better. Before I started, thinking about yelling at the sky for what he was saying here, I had to read some of this article. He says, let's have the conversation that no Miami Dolphins fan wants to have. And no, nobody does want to have this. So you're left looking at the game that Buffalo won and wondering to yourself, is this what a championship quarter looks like? Here it is right here. The defining of a franchise quarterback might involve window dressing like completion percentage, third down conversions, arm strength, deep accuracy, or some other handy metric that everyone in the media was talking about. However, but it's a harsh bottom line question. Can the quarterback pick up a team and carry it across the finish line repeatedly on the strength of his arms, legs, or just happens moxie? Does he have the intestinal fortitude to say, hey, listen, I'm putting you guys on my back. I'm taking us down the field. Whatever the game calls for. For 17 years, New England's Tom Brady held that AFC East hostage, which he did. You knew that he was going to find a way to win. He was going to find a way to win. You didn't need to dissect his touchdowns or calculate his passer rating or any of that kind of stuff. You just had to watch those final two drives. The night up for grabs, Allen grabbed control in a way that didn't involve the offensive system or supporting cast. During that game, I actually said, he's going to take over. I caught myself saying it a number of times that Josh Allen was going to take over. He had to. There's a short list of quarterbacks playing right now who can lift a team like this. Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I disagree with him. I don't think Joe Burrow can do it, but he mentions Burrow. It's a difference between them and, for now, the quarterbacks on the next level, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, and yes, Tua Tagovailoa. He says there's no slap at the Dolphins quarterback in the way some will take it. They've put the cart before the horse since he was drafted, as if they can talk him into playing in a high place. That's not fair to him. Allen won the game. Him alone, or as alone as any player can win in a team game. His coach, Sean McDermott, said that's what Josh Allen does. That's where I had to say, and people are calling me a homer, that's when I had to say, you know what? He's right. At this point in his career, Tua Tagovailoa cannot take this team on his back alone from the 5 or 10 yard line and say, you know what? I'm going to win this. I'm going to run. I'm going to dive into this pile. I'm going to do a quarterback sneak and hold the ball up. I'm going to do all this stuff, and I'm going to will this team to victory. Tua is not that player. However, that doesn't mean he can't be. That doesn't mean that I expect Tua to run the ball and do quarterback draws and jump over the line. He doesn't have to be. He doesn't have to be Steve Young running around the field and trying to find, what he's going to do in scrambling. I mean, I was shocked when he ran that ball on Saturday, even though he fell over his own 2 feet. That's not Tua's game. That's not where he is going to be for Miami. If he doesn't have a supporting cast around him, he's not going to be Josh Allen. I think every single one of us needs to sit here and go, that's our quarterback. But that's okay. And that's okay because Matthew Stafford won the Super Bowl last year. And he didn't go running down the field and willing a team to win. Didn't happen. Does not happen. No, those kind of players like Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes are generational stars. We don't have that. We're not going to have that. Skylar Thompson's not that. So you guys got to stop talking about that. What you have to do is build a system that fits a quarterback. Now understand, I've said it and I'll continue to say it. Josh Allen's in trouble. He's not as nifty as Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is nifty, and he gets away from you, and he doesn't put himself in really too much of a position where he's going to get hurt. Josh Allen cannot continue to play football the way he's playing right now. He's one shot. He's one shot from getting really, really hurt. I mean, seriously, he's putting himself out there. His coach is letting him put himself out there because they don't have any of the other way of winning their games. They have to rely on him. And Tua's not that guy. Tua needs a supporting cast. We can say that comfortably, and you guys can say he's not Patrick Mahomes, he's not Josh Allen, and I will agree with you 100%. But you know what? That's not necessary to win a Super Bowl. Ask Drew Brees. Ask some of these guys. I mean, you're making it out to be something that it's not because you're comparing apples to oranges. If you're looking for Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, Jalen Hurts, and Tua, you're going to continue to be disappointed. There's no other way around it. So don't be envious. Urban says Tua is a Pro Bowler. He's very good. Yep, he's very good at what he does. True Talk says Josh Allen's body will hold up. He's a big quarterback, and he's tough. Yeah, he's 6'4", 6'4", 240. As you're writing that, could you go on Google and look up a guy named Cam Newton and let me know how that worked out? A guy who's that big, who took punishment after punishment, and how long his career lasted. I'll wait. Barry, he says no QB in NFL can win without talent around him. Absolutely, I agree with that. Tua is going to need more. Is that a bad thing? Should we have less talent and win, or should you surround him with the system that you need to win with? Do you want to get rid of him and bring somebody else in who can run around the field and who's 6'4", 250? I don't know. That's something else. Okay, I like this. Some Dolphins fans hate Tua, and I wish Tua was on Steelers. We'll support him 100%. Dolphins should appreciate Tua, the Samoan sniper. Yeah, you spend a shitload of time going through tape. You went to the combine. You looked at pro days at Alabama. You did this. You did that. You poked. You prodded. You did everything that Colin Kaepernick said they do at the NFL combines and when they look at you at pro days. And you said, you know what? This kid can play. It didn't say, hey, this kid can be Patrick Mahomes, or we can turn this kid into Josh Allen. No. You said this kid can play, and if we have the right coach and right system, we can win. And that's all we want to do is win. So I'm not sure. Why are we not talking about the boys not catching the ball? Because it was Saturday. We're going into the next week. What happened on Saturday? I don't know. Was the field wet? Was the ball wet? Were your hands cold? Did it feel like catching a cinder block? I'm not going to make excuses for them. I think someone had mentioned before proving something. I think Tyreek has proven that he's a player. He just didn't catch the ball. I think that Sherfield has proven, as we saw in the San Francisco 49ers game, he can catch the ball. Are people 100% efficient? No, it's not going to happen. Big Ben lasted. Yes, Big Ben is an anomaly. The guy is huge, and he ran around a lot, but if you notice later in his career, he stopped running as much because he was in a shitload of pain. But Big Ben is an anomaly. I got that. Cam won an MVP, and he played in a Super Bowl. Okay. For how long? All I'm saying is I want a quarterback, and I think Mike McDaniel wants a quarterback that's going to be there for 10, 12, I don't think 14 would be stretching it, 10, 12 years. I want to see him win an MVP. I want to see him win playoff games and, of course, lead us to the Super Bowl and be healthy getting there. We are, let's see here. We're winning out, getting the 5th seed, and going to Tennessee. Would love that. Actually, if we went out and got the 5th seed, Tennessee would have to come unless they won their division. Yeah, that's right. Tennessee's going to win their division, so we're going to have to go to Tennessee. You're right. This is what I keep trying to tell people. I don't know why people overlook that. This is Tua's first year in this system. And I broke it down and said his first year he was rehabilitating from a catastrophic injury. Then he had a horrible coach. And basically this is his first year. It's almost like a rookie season. I think everybody has overlooked that. He got a completely different playbook. A new playbook that just got dumped on him in April or so when McDaniel got hired. And I'm sure McDaniel's been changing in plays that he's been running. We can see him trying to adjust and see which plays are going to be running. I mean, he got dumped a playbook that he just had to learn. This is year one. Chill. What is everybody so frigged out, worried about? Do you know how many teams would love to be where the Miami Dolphins are right now? Do you know how many fan bases would be like, you know what? They're 8-6. They might make the playoffs. They got a good team being put together. They're going to be good maybe next year and the year beyond that. But you guys are all expecting a Super Bowl today. We need to win a Super Bowl right now. We probably had, and this is funny, but we probably had arguably one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. And he's got that many Super Bowl rings. And I never hear anybody say anything negative about him. Dan the man won a shitload of games, never won a Super Bowl. And I never see a comment anywhere saying, Dan sucked, he didn't win a Super Bowl. Now, we know he didn't suck. He's in the Hall of Fame. He played for a long time, got a ton of yards, ton of touchdowns, was exciting to watch. Are you not saying that Tua is exciting to watch? Are you saying that he's not even worth your time? Because we're not in the playoffs yet. I'm seeing people saying Tua is garbage. Garbage. They're 8-6. I don't understand what you guys are talking about. I'm not being a homer. I'm looking at stats. I look, it's okay, he's 8-6, 3,000 plus yards thrown for the year, passer rating over 100, X amount of touchdowns, X amount of interceptions, and basically the first year of an offense. And down here it says grade. He sucks? Do you really want to say that to people? Do you really, as an speaking, talking adult, want to look at all of his accolades? 3,000 plus yards passing, 8-6 in his first year with a new coach, QBR, all these different things that go, oh, this guy sucks. He's garbage. It says more about you. And I'm not sticking up for Tua. I just look at the numbers. Just look at the numbers. Unbelievable. Hey, Sabrina, I think what you're going to see in tomorrow's video, that you guys, I hope you all watch it. It's called The NFL is Rigged or something like that. I forget what the title is I'm talking about fans a lot. Fans who think that they know so much because they've been fans and they've been lied to. And they think that they have the right to call somebody garbage. A man who's out there putting his heart and soul on the line for a victory, and you're calling him garbage, and he's still leading the league in many stats, and he's 8-6. I could see if he was 1-9, 1-10, 1-11. I could see if he had an upside down ratio of interceptions to touchdowns. I could see if he's been throwing pick sixes all over the place. I would agree with you wholeheartedly. There's nothing that's not even debatable. I would completely agree with you. But you're saying a man is garbage who's done what he's done in year one. That's where you lose credibility. That's where you lose all credibility. That's where you need to go to one of those fanboy pages and scream at them. Jeez. Josh Greenwell. Where'd that go? That went so fast. Josh Greenwell says, the people saying Tua is garbage are the same people that thought Mac Jones was better. Ooh. Wow. You might be right there. Did you hear what Belichick said about Mac Jones yesterday? Because people were talking about that insane play, which I don't think anyone ever in their right mind would do. I'm sure Belichick is probably reamed those guys out, if not cut him for what he did. Hey, why didn't you go for the Hail Mary? And Belichick said, I don't have confidence that he could throw the ball that far. It was 55 yards. I don't have confidence in my... You told the public. You told the press. I don't have confidence that my quarterback could throw it that far. Can you imagine, and just for a moment, could you imagine if Mike McDaniel was in a press room? And he's up on stage, and I'm like, Mike, score was tied. You probably could have just thrown, a Hail Mary to see what happens. And if Mike McDaniel had said in an open press conference, I don't think my quarterback could throw it that far, the world would have erupted. It would have been on ESPN, FS1, everywhere on Twitter. But Mac Jones gets a pass. Mac Jones, Whack Jones as some people call him, gets a pass when your head coach makes a statement like that. Meanwhile, Tua is basically balling out. Tua's too small. Too small for what? I wish I had a picture of that. If you guys saw that crazy play against the Raiders, and the guy threw it backwards for some reason, and the only person back there was Chandler, who was the defensive line for the Raiders, and Mac Jones, and he treated Mac Jones like a rag doll. I mean, he just basically intercepted the ball, took it, and just stuffed his face in the dirt. As Jimbo likes to say, yeah, he put his dick in the dirt. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. If I was Mac, I would have just crawled off the field. 50th State fan, what we had in Reno, what that got us. John Elway, Jim Elway got the support cast. Elway got Terrell Davis. Tua will be fine. Absolutely, guys. That's all I'm trying to say. We had one of arguably the best quarterbacks of all time. He's considered Miami royalty. He's considered, the man, Dan the man. And he didn't win a Super Bowl, but nobody talks negatively of him. Why is that? Why is it that nobody dare says anything about Dan Marino? When at this point, this team is, a couple games away from getting into the playoffs. I don't know. You tell me. Yeah, Tua is actually bigger than Drew Brees. He is. Yeah, people don't want to talk about that. John Greenwell, you're absolutely right. This team is fine and on a great trajectory. So, guys, I want to thank you, and ladies, Sabrina, and thank you very much for tuning in. Tomorrow, check out that video, which is all about the NFL being rigged. I think you'll enjoy it. And then tomorrow night at this time is Tua Tuesday. Tomorrow it's going to be all about Tua. You want to bitch about Tua? Come on in. You want to talk about Tua? Come on in. Tomorrow's Tua Tuesday. All this week at 6:30, God willing. If I make it, I'll be here talking to you guys. And don't miss tomorrow's video. Thank you guys for taking the time to tune in tonight. I'm off to go see some Christmas lights. Merry Christmas and